Hello, hello. I hope you guys are all doing well today and that you're ready for another new video. Today we're going to be talking about what to do when travel goes wrong, because inevitably, if you travel enough, something bad is going to happen. So today, I just want to talk through some of these things with you and sort of what you can do to sort of ease the stress when something bad does happen. Also, unrelated, but you might notice I'm in a new space today. This is our new apartment. So we just moved in last week. We were like sick of living on the boat. So we decided to rent an apartment for a couple of months. Neither of us really love renting, which is why we've held out. Like, we're both trying to like save so we can buy a house or buy an apartment, but it was just like, it was time to get off the boat and get into an apartment. And also they're doing like some varnishing work on the boat, so the smell is just awful. So we were like, we need to get out of this space and have our own space for a little while. So I might do an apartment tour at some point. It's really cute. It has these beautiful like high beamed ceilings with like wood beams. It's really lovely. So I'm very excited to be here. But all of that aside, let's get into talking about how to save yourself when travel goes wrong. And before I get into it, just if you guys wouldn't mind giving this video a like, leaving a comment, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you when you've been traveling, that like logistic wise, like, you know, I mean, you guys have probably heard, I'll put it here, but the time that I accidentally got on the wrong flight and was an undocumented flyer, so I will put that there for you guys to watch. So that was probably one of my worst things that I did when I was traveling. But let me know what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in terms of travel logistics, and let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that goes wrong in travel is probably something that's happened to everybody. And if you've ever been on a plane or have flown like more than once, this has probably happened to you, but what to do if your flight gets delayed. So the biggest thing if your flight gets delayed is to check, and it's important to know if you have a connecting flight, like if this is not the last trip of your journey. If that's the case, you need to double check the times with the counter agent or on your app and see if it's going to give you enough time to make your connecting flight. If it does not look like that is going to be possible, you need to go immediately and talk to the gate agent to see if they can get you on another flight and to go ahead and rebook your second flight. If you do have to change your second flight, or if it's the last flight of your journey, the next step that you're going to want to take is notify your transportation company. So if you've booked or like we book for all of our clients, we book private transfers, like to pick them up from the hotel so they don't have to deal with taxis and all of that stuff. And usually, by the way, comes out to about the same cost. Like just do it. Then you need to go ahead and let them know as soon as possible. A lot of times you can text them or just give them a quick phone call and let them know that your flight has been delayed and that you're going to be late getting in. They usually have your flight number, so it shouldn't be an issue, but it's always better to be safe than sorry and to let them know that that is what has happened. On the same thought of flying, the next thing that happens quite a bit is your flight gets canceled. So if your flight's canceled, which we've been seeing tons of this happening just with the pandemic and everything, like flights are overbooked, not enough staff, flights get canceled. That's just kind of like how it's going these days. Don't really know why, but it is. Then you need to immediately go to the airline counter and resolve what you can do. I'm like not one of those people that's like rush to get anywhere, like rush to get in on the plane first or rush to get off the plane first. That's not usually me. However, if your flight's canceled and they're calling everybody to go to the gate to rebook, you need to rush, because a lot of times they'll just start filling up the next flight, and if you're the last person to go, then that next flight might be filled. So you do kind of want to like hustle and get up there. If there's no gate agent available or there's no other flights available, you need to talk to your travel agent if you have one. If not, then you need to talk to the airline counter. Like I once had a flight out of Albuquerque that was delayed, and then finally canceled. And they were just like, okay, well, the next flight's not until tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God. So, and they just were like, okay, bye. So I went up to the counter and was like, look, I am a solo female traveler. Like, I don't really trust this city. I don't know this city. I'm not from here. I'm just like laying over here. And so they gave me like 3 free meals and a free hotel room for the night because I said that. So Go talk to the counter agent. I mean, then like I didn't have to go talk to the gate agent then. Like they just automatically booked us on our phones. A lot of times that happens. But because I went and talked to them, I was like, okay, sweet. So I just took a taxi to my hotel room and they paid for everything. So there can be some, reimbursements when stuff like this does happen. Okay, so what to do if your luggage is lost? Because this does happen quite a bit. I've had, actually I've been pretty lucky in terms of lost luggage, but of course I have had some bags lost. The first thing you want to do is like check the app or check your tag to see if you can see where the last place it was clocked was. And then from there, what you need to do is go to the airline baggage counter. It's usually right by the baggage claim belts. And you need to talk to them and they will get it sorted with you. A lot of times, the airlines will give you like reimbursements for this. You need to talk to them about like saying, like, especially if you're flying somewhere, like if you're flying from Florida to Sweden and it's the middle of winter, and you can be like, look, all of my winter clothes are in my bag. I need a stipend so I can survive the next couple of days and like brush my teeth and stuff. So a lot of times the airlines will do that. If they don't, you should have bought travel insurance before, because a lot of times your travel insurance, if your bags are delayed for more than depends on the travel insurance, but usually it's like 3, 6, or 12 hours, you get differing levels of benefits and like a price to like reimburse like you for things you have to buy when you're, in situ. So I always recommend getting travel insurance. We obviously prefer Travel Insured as our go-to travel insurance partner. I've linked them down below so you can check them out if you are looking for travel insurance. They also do like a package where you can like buy like travel insurance for yourself for the whole year, no matter what your travels are, which is kind of cool. Like it's an all-encompassing travel insurance. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. I just book per trip, but it's definitely would be more economical for me to buy the whole package. Anyways, so they have that. I always, especially in the state of the world today, recommend that you get travel insurance. So check them out if you're looking for a really great travel insurance company. Okay, so what to do if your credit or debit card doesn't work? So this happens to me all the time. Like with my debit card, I finally got a new debit card because I could not handle my small Florida credit union debit card, because every time I travel, I would call them ahead and tell them that I was traveling and tell them where I was traveling to. And they'd say, okay, we've got a travel notice on it. And then I'd get to Peru and I couldn't take out any cash. And I was like, oh my God. Like every single time I traveled, this happened. So I finally got an international card, or I used my credit card when I traveled. But if if that happens, a lot of times you can go online or check your phone for emails or text messages from your bank. And a lot of times they just think it's fraudulent activity, so you can just go on and approve it and say that it wasn't. If you can't do that, then you probably need to call your bank. If it's your credit card, you need to call your bank for sure, because that just means they don't know that you're traveling and they think that you have been stolen and somebody's going to buy loads of cocaine somewhere remote in the world or something. So call them. If your debit card isn't working at an ATM, but you are not getting any of these text messages or anything, I would first try, before calling your bank, I would try lowering the amount you're trying to withdraw, because a lot of ATMs all over the world and a lot of banks will limit how much you can withdraw in a day, based on your card and your activity and all that kind of stuff and where you're traveling. Like, I know that one of my debit cards only allows me to withdraw like X amount of US dollars, but I can withdraw like 3 times that in euros. So it just kind of depends on where you are and what you're doing. So try lowering the amount you're withdrawing first, and then if that still doesn't work, then I would call your bank. Okay, so this is not a problem like I personally have ever had, but I've had clients who have been dissatisfied with their room type upon their arrival, or not happy with the view, or just not happy with the resort. Like it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So if that's the case with you, what we suggest, the first thing you need to do is go to reception or call reception, because they'll be able to sort it like the fastest, much faster than your travel advisor will be. Like I can help, but I'm usually on a very different time zone than what my clients are, even if they're traveling in Europe. Like when they're, actually clients traveling in Europe is the easiest, but it's when, like if you're traveling in Asia or on the west coast of the US, like it's very hard for me to be able to answer any concerns in the middle of the night. So we always recommend that you go straight to the hotel concierge, as they will have the best knowledge as to what they can do and if there's any other upgrades available, or if they can do something to supplement this. Even if they are unable to find a suitable solution, you do still need to let your travel agent know, just because that helps us in the future when we're planning trips, so that something like this doesn't happen again. But a lot of times the fastest and quickest result will just be to go to reception. And if you want to choose an upgrade because you weren't happy with the room type, a lot of times that can just be done locally. You just like pay the extra cost and then you're upgraded to the next room type. So that's kind of how to navigate that situation. Unfortunately, if places are sold out, you're not going to be able to get that upgrade. If you're traveling, at peak times, if you're traveling in the middle of July to Florence, like you're probably not going to get the next room upgrade at your resort. But it never hurts to ask if you're truly not happy with what you've selected. Okay, what to do if you need to change your dinner reservation. So my biggest recommendation if you are in a foreign country is to always ask your concierge to make the reservations for you or make any changes for you. If you've used a travel agent, a lot of times we will have made these arrangements for you and the hotel concierge has been made aware of them. So if you do need to make the changes, they're your best bet, because if it's a Saturday evening, I might miss your, 10 p.m. text asking you to change your dinner reservation. So that all needs to happen like in travel. Like we like to hand kind of over to clients, like to you guys, like to say like, to give you the best options available, to kind of give you the power, because travel is all about like empowering yourself and learning a new culture and learning a new way of life. So if you just rely on your travel agent back at home to do all that, you're not really getting the full experience of travel. So always go to your hotel concierge, or you can call the restaurant directly to make a reservation change. You also have a lot of apps you can do it online now. I know when I give it to my clients, I say it was reserved either directly or through Resi, or what's the other one? Open Table is a really popular one that everybody uses. Fork also. So I'll say which one it's reserved through, and then it's under my email, and they can just like go in and they can just make a new one and say it was made under that and change it that way. If there was a credit card needed to hold the reservation, you might be charged for that though. So just keep that in mind when it does come to changing your dinner reservations when you're in travel. Okay, what to do if your tour guide doesn't show up? So this is a bit of an interesting one. Don't think I've ever had this. I've had tour guides late before, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I've ever had a tour guide like just not show up. Like it's been like hours late, but like they did show up eventually. So I think the most important thing, so if the meeting point is at your hotel, then the most important, like the best way to do that would be to go to your hotel concierge and have them help you contact the tour company, right? If the meeting point is outside of your hotel, then you can go to the travel information documents in you can find the tour operator's information in your travel documents is what I'm trying to say, if you've worked with a travel agent. So get the tour contactor's information and try and get a hold of them as best you can. A lot of times they're probably just running a little bit late because they had to pick somebody else up or something like that. So just try and get in touch with them the best way that you know how. And then if you don't hear from them or they still don't show up, then you need to contact your travel agent, if you have one again, to sort of escalate that issue, because it's very rare that this happens, but obviously things do happen. So definitely contact your travel agent to try and get you rebooked on something else, or figure out what happened to the tour agent and why they didn't show up. Okay, this is an interesting one. What to do when you've lost your passport? So we always recommend that you take a copy of your driver's license, your passport, a credit card with you, like photocopy it and keep it in. I'll show you. This is what I have. Actually, I don't even know if my passport is, or my copy of my passport's in here right now. But what I have is this little folder right here. You can see I got my vaccination. Now that we have to travel with so much documents anyways, it makes sense to just buy one of these and use it. So so I have my actual passport and my seafarer's book, and then I've got all of this fun stuff in here. And I didn't on this trip because I don't take my own advice. But you have, I have my copy of my vaccine, and I have like all sorts of my other paperwork, but I also usually keep a copy of my passport in here, a copy of my driving license, and a copy of my credit card in that thing. And I keep a copy in there, a copy like tucked away in my luggage. And then I also have a digital copy on my cell phone, just like a photo of everything in a little scanning app that I have. So that's the most important thing that you can do pre-travel to assist you in this problem. The next thing you need to do when you do lose your passport, if that happens to you, is you need to go to the nearest embassy or consulate and explain to them what has happened. And using your copies, you can try and get a new passport. Or no, you won't get a new passport, you will get a temporary passport, and then when you get home, you can get a new passport. Does that make sense? If you don't travel with copies of your passport, any information you have with you that you can use to prove who you are is essential, because you really need some form of identification so that you can prove who you are and all this other stuff. I mean, I have like 4 different IDs that I travel with. I have my global entry, I have my Italian social security card, I've got my Spanish social security card, like I've got so many different options to like prove who I am. So just always like take some extra form of identification with you when you're traveling. Okay, so this one's a little bit less serious than losing your passport, but can also be just as much of a stress and probably a more expensive loss, is what to do when you lost your phone. So I mean, I have lost and or broken probably 4 phones while traveling. It's just how it goes. So if that happens, you can notify the police. A lot of times that's gonna do absolutely nothing, but you can still do it. I recommend you do it anyways, because then when you go to file a claim with your insurance, if you had phone insurance or travel insurance, it shows that you like tried to get it back. So you can always just file a claim anyways, or file a claim with the police department, then you can file a claim with your insurance. If you had cell phone insurance in particular, go ahead and file a claim as soon as you know it's lost. However, really the only thing you're gonna be able to do is if you're in a city where you can get a new phone, is just go and buy a new one. I know it sucks, but that's just kind of what you have to do. I've also gotten to the habit of traveling with 2 phones. Like I have a backup phone that I travel with in case one gets lost or stolen, because things just happen. Like I'm reckless, like I'm doing all these crazy activities. You never know if you're gonna lose a phone in the snow when you're dog sledding, or if you're gonna roll down a hill, or you just don't know. One time somebody bit my phone at a bar when I was in Italy and it broke, and I lost all of my photos from the trip. This is like pre-iCloud automatically syncing. So like this year I was in like middle of nowhere Greece. Like, I mean, we were in Skiathos, right? Which is in the Sporades. And there wasn't an Apple store anywhere. I think the only Apple store in Greece is in Athens, I want to say. Maybe there's one in Thessaloniki, but I don't think so. So I couldn't get a new phone, but thank God I had my backup phone. I had a spare phone with me that I was able to just kind of plug into. And like this time my phone didn't even I didn't actually do anything to it. I was just literally like sitting next to it and just like the phone went black. And I was like, well, I cannot go, because I was in Greece for 2 months. I was like, I could not go 2 months without a cell phone. Like, I mean, I could, but I'm not. So I just had to use my backup phone. So if you have a backup phone, take that burner phone with you just in case, so you can call your mom and be like, I'm not dead, I just broke my phone. Okay, so what to do if an item is missing from your room, if something's been stolen out of your room. This has happened to me before. I never recommend bringing valuables with you on a trip. People always ask like, oh, should I bring my engagement ring? I'm like, totally up to you. Like, I would be comfortable traveling in certain parts of the world. I'm not engaged, but if I had an engagement ring, I would be comfortable doing that, just because like I don't know, I just am. And I grew up in a family where my mom has like never ever taken hers off, like not to do anything, and we work on boats and stuff. Like, so I just would be like, but that's my personal opinion. Like, I wear nice jewelry out. Like, I sometimes will travel with my diamond bracelets and stuff. But if you're not comfortable with it, I don't recommend bringing it, because anything could happen, I just like think of that like episode of the Kardashians where Kim K like lost her diamond earring and she's like screaming, my earring, you knocked my earring out. So I just think of that. We don't want that to happen to any of our clients. So yeah, that's why the episode is literally why I don't recommend ever bringing any valuables with you when you travel. But if you do bring valuables, we always recommend using the safe and locking it away in there. And then I have had cash stolen out of my room before, out of my bags, whether from the cleaning lady or just from somebody who like snuck into my room. Don't know. In hostels, I've had, oh my God, so much cash stolen. So I always recommend like, don't take all of your cash with you by any means. Like, do not do that, because if your purse gets stolen while you're out, then you've lost all your cash. So I recommend kind of like shoving cash in different spots of your suitcase. Like, this is super weird, but I like usually if I'm traveling, especially to like more rural countries or third world countries, I will shove like I will shove cash in like 8 different spots in my bag, and I write down where I've saved it on my phone. So that's an option. But if something does go missing, notify reception immediately. If it's something you have insurance on, whether it be travel insurance or you have insurance on the item, like you have insurance on your engagement ring, like file the claim immediately. Try and file a claim with the local police, because something like a cell phone, you're never gonna get back. Like, I'm just gonna tell you now, it's never gonna happen. But an engagement ring, I feel like that's a higher chance. I don't know what I'm basing this off of, but I feel like there is a higher chance to get something like that back. As well as like laptops, like if your laptop is stolen, or your camera, sometimes you are able to get that back. I don't personally know anybody that's had one stolen and has been able to get it back, but I assume it does happen. So file a claim and talk to reception. And then notify your travel agent also, because like we want to know if you've been in a resort that has had somebody stealing things from your room. Absolutely. Okay, what to do if, heaven forbid, you fall ill or receive an injury on vacation. I'm not talking about you stub your toe or you have food poisoning. I'm talking about like you break your arm, or like I don't know, something serious happens, like you get pneumonia. If you have travel insurance, and if you don't, the first thing that you need to do is seek medical assistance as soon as possible. Call the emergency line, the equivalent of 911 for whatever country you're in, and get treatment as soon as you possibly can. A lot of times, you can go to the hospital if you want. A lot of times there's private English-speaking doctors. I tend to go to like a private British doctor here in Spain as opposed to going to the hospital, because I don't speak Spanish. And most people here don't speak English, so language barrier. So seek medical attention as soon as possible. If you have travel insurance, notify your travel insurance immediately and see what the next steps are to get reimbursement or payments for your injuries that you have sustained. And if you don't have travel insurance, maybe your health provider will be able to cover some of your costs. It just totally depends on what health insurance you have there. And then from there, immediately let your travel advisor know so that we can assist you in making some changes. And in the event that something has happened, we can help you, assist you in making changes to your travel plans and your itinerary if that needs to happen. Okay, and the final one is what to do if your test to return home is positive. And I'm talking about COVID tests here. Yes, I am. So each country sort of handles the COVID testing differently. Like it just totally depends on where you are. What I recommend is to immediately seek assistance from your hotel concierge. A lot of times, like if you test positive, like somebody will be reaching out to you immediately. Some countries will make you quarantine in your current accommodation. Some countries will make you go to like government provided accommodation. With our travel insurance partner that I recommend, Travel Insured, basically, if you selected the optional bed rest option, if you do have to pay for your quarantine, that optional bed rest covers that. We have had clients who have tested positive for their return trips home to America and could not get home and had to quarantine. It does happen. Do not think it doesn't, because it does. And of course, I don't want to scare anybody from traveling, but like that is a risk when you travel these days and age, like you are taking a risk that you might not be able to get home immediately because you could possibly test for COVID, okay? So keep that in mind when you travel, but just, you have to go to the, let your concierge know, wear a mask, and tell them what's going on. Somebody will be reaching out to you, and let your travel advisor know so we can also help to assist you in whatever issues you are having. Yeah, your best bet is really just to let your concierge know. If you're at a testing center in the airport, I can almost guarantee you that they will come and find you. You definitely won't be allowed on your plane, so at that point, just let your travel advisor know, and we will help you find like the solution to your problem. Yeah, that's a tricky one, but yes, you will have to quarantine. You will not be able to go home until you either test negative or like the quarantine window is passed. That's just how it is. It's a stressful time to travel like that, because you truly don't know if you'll be able to get back home right away. So yeah. Okay guys, well I hope you found this video useful and informational, and that it kind of helps you soothe your soul when it comes to figuring out how to plan travel and what to do when travel goes wrong. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment below about what has gone wrong when you've traveled. Thanks you guys so much. I'll see you later. Bye.